Hussein kept slapping Bisma's ass while kissing Bisma's neck and whispering nasty things into her ear. She was on all fours, blindfolded, naked, her hands tied behind her back, her husband beside her. Bisma's husband's friend was behind her, pounding into her. Usman was rough with her, slapping her ass and back. He was much bigger than Bisma's husband. And that felt good. Her body craved this kind of attention from a stranger. A secret affair where no one knew what happened in this room. She had wanted to be fucked by two men for so long. Finally, it was happening. Usman slammed his hips against Bisma's ass, his hard clit moved in and out of her pussy. Then he pulled his cock out and whispered, "You know I hate you, don't you?" Bisma moaned, loving the way he filled her up again. She'd never had this experience before. She loved it. She loved everything about it. Hussein licked the beads of sweat off her neck, nibbling on them softly, biting them gently as if he couldn't help himself. Then he grabbed her hair and started fucking her from behind. When his cock hers, her eyes widened. His slid in easily, stroking against his friend's. Both men groaned as they worked their cocks in Bisma, filling her up, driving her crazy. The feeling of being taken by both men at once was too much. She came hard, screaming. The men stopped moving. They both held onto her hips tightly, shaking. Their cock throbbed inside her. Her body trembled from the intense orgasm. They kissed each other's lips, sharing Bisma's cum between them. Bisma moaned. This was perfect. Everything was perfect. "You were amazing," Usman whispered into her ear. "I've always wanted you," Hussein said as he kissed Bisma's shoulder. "And me." Usman cupped Bisma's breast, tweaking her nip. She didn't answer. It didn't matter. She was loved by two men. Bisma closed her eyes. She could feel them both, hard and throbbing inside her. They both grabbed her hips and started moving again. She moaned as she felt both of them deep inside her. They pumped their her, They used her like a boy. Her body reacted positively to that. She was nothing more but an object to these men. They'd use her however they pleased. That was the only thing that kept her sane. They'd never cared for her before. Now, they did. But not because they loved her. Not because they wanted to make her happy. But because they both needed to be satisfied. After all, this was about them. They'd done it for years. Used women and played around with each other's wives. Now that they had someone new to play with, they'd do whatever they wanted. Bisma screamed when they started stroking faster. It wasn't enough to be in bed together. They wanted to leave marks on her body. They needed her to be marked. As if they owned her. Usman bit her shoulder as he thrust his hips against her. Hussein reached under Bisma's body and started rubbing her. He knew how to touch her right. He knew exactly what to do to drive her crazy. Her, she yelled. She liked it rough. Always had. Always would. Hussein started pounding away at her, pinning her to the floor with his strong legs. "Give it to me harder," she growled. They both laughed. Then they complied. Hussein stroked as Usman grabbed her waist and lifted her. He started fucking style, his balls